Last week, Disney's live-action remake, Lilo and Stitch, hit theaters worldwide. It's a reimagining of the beloved 2002 animated classic, and much more was riding on this release than just box office numbers. In fact, the very future of Disney's animated remake genre may have hinged on how this film performed. After the massive failure of Snow White, Disney execs were seriously considering pulling the plug on these types of projects altogether. But, just as we predicted, Lilo and Stitch has proven one incredibly simple truth, one that, somehow, Disney's top brass still struggles to grasp. When you make a good movie with respect for your audience and the original source material, without trying to lecture or preach, you get love in return, pure and simple. And that's exactly what happened. In just 4 days, Lilo and Stitch made nearly double what Snow White pulled in over its entire theatrical run. Not only that, it beat Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, delivering a stunning performance that once again drives home a point that Disney just refuses to accept. Hi everyone, welcome to Fame Focus. Let's dive right in. Now, we're not going to waste time breaking down every detail of how this remake was planned, what the production journey looked like, and so on. What matters right now is this: Lilo and Stitch stands apart from many of Disney's recent remakes, especially the most controversial ones like Snow White and The Little Mermaid. This film doesn't pretend to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't try to present a bold new vision or offer some forced, unnecessary reimagining. Nope, this remake, which, by the way, had a relatively modest budget of around $100 million, far less than most recent Disney remakes, was positioned from the very start as a faithful, almost frame-by-frame recreation of the animated original. To put it simply, the new Lilo and Stitch is essentially the same movie we loved in 2002, just brought to life with real actors and modern filmmaking. And sure, some critics took issue with that. They called it unoriginal or too safe. But the truth is, audiences love this kind of remake, the kind that honors the original with care, detail, and emotional truth, without wandering off into pointless side plots or pushing half-baked attempts at fake originality. Time and again, this approach proves to be the most successful, and once again, Lilo and Stitch is the living proof. In just 4 days, the film pulled in more than $180 million in the US and Canada alone. Internationally, it made nearly $160 million, bringing the global total to a jaw-dropping $341.7 million in its opening weekend. That means not only did the movie pay off its production and marketing costs almost immediately, it also made around $90 million in profit within its first weekend. About half of that goes to Disney, the rest to theaters. However you slice it, that's a phenomenal result. Just for comparison, The Little Mermaid, which had a much bigger budget, didn't even come close. And as for Snow White, well, let's not even go there. But here's where it gets even more impressive. Lilo and Stitch even outperformed Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning during its opening weekend, and that film raked in a very respectable $200 million. Still, it wasn't enough to compete with Disney's latest hit. So yeah, my prediction that Lilo and Stitch could reach the billion-dollar mark is starting to look more realistic by the day. But maybe the most important takeaway here is this: Disney has once again been shown that when you start with the right story, one that people already love, and remake it with care, staying as close as possible to what made it special in the first place, people show up. They bring their families. They buy the tickets. They say, "Thank you for respecting us." It's the same formula that made Inside Out 2 a massive hit last year, despite being released nearly a decade after the original. That sequel earned over $1.5 billion worldwide. Why? Because it respected the characters, the themes, and the fans. And yet, the big execs at Disney, Netflix, Amazon, and beyond still haven't learned the lesson. They keep thinking they know better, that they can tell audiences what they should like, rather than listening to what people actually want. If Disney had approached The Little Mermaid or Snow White with the same mindset as Lilo and Stitch, we might be telling a completely different story right now. But instead, those remakes tried to push agendas, ignore the source material, and lecture the audience. And the box office results spoke loud and clear. It's not rocket science. But for some reason, major studios keep stepping on the same rake over and over again. Will they ever learn? Who knows? But what do you think? Do you want to see more faithful remakes like Lilo and Stitch? Or do you think it's time Disney came up with new ideas altogether? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read everyone. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Fame Focus, smash that like button, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the world of film and fame. Until next time, thanks for watching.